All right, welcome here, guys. Great episode coming up with Tori Barker. She is marketing wizard, if you will, owner of creative marketing, all things marketing. She works with a lot of contractors. So wanted to have her on today to help us with just learning about branding, marketing, and how to generate more leads for your contracting business. Thanks so much for being here, Tori. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me on as a guest.
Yeah, I'm excited. Definitely. I love talking about this stuff. And I know it's going to help a lot of people, improve their lead gen for their businesses, which is super important. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your company, maybe like your background, how you started the company, and then how you help contractors?
I like to say I'm a recovering corporate marketer. I had about 15 years in the corporate marketing world and then went out on my own and have started creative marketing about 4 years ago. And my business is we're a digital marketing company. And so we work with a lot of contractors, trades and associates, and we really help with the digital marketing, branding, consulting, and strategy piece of the business. And for me, I love working with this industry. It's second nature to me. It's where my background is. And, I come from a construction background with my dad. He was a longtime construction worker. And so for me, this is just a natural industry for me to work in. So I love being able to help everyone in this world with my creative marketing genius.
Wonderful. Yeah, much needed service and much appreciated service. I'm sure a lot of contractors would rather be out there, building projects and getting things done and just have the leads come pouring in. So you definitely help with that. So you hear about it nowadays, like, you got to figure out your brand voice or your brand messaging. Can you shed some light on like what that means or how maybe you've helped other businesses kind of figure that out in a marketing sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So like you said, contractors are usually wanting to be out in the field, boots in the dirt, right? Working on the projects. And so what I like to do is obviously help them with that brand and the messaging, because whether or not they have stopped to take a moment and really reflect on what that is, it's truly important. And branding encompasses a lot of things, right? So you need to have a mission statement, a vision statement. You need to have messaging that aligns with your core values and your customer and what it is that you do, so that you can speak to the audience and then it resonates with them so that they know that what you offer is what they need. And so really it goes down to just kind of like, let's peel back the layers of the onion and really figure out, who you are at a core and what's important to your business. And then the language comes along with that. And then the imagery comes along with that as well. So a lot of, contractors don't think a logo is important, but really the logo is a first impression for, how business looks and feels and if it's going to be successful and if somebody can trust you. So it's really important to start with the visual, the written, and the story of a business.
Yeah, it is really critical. And I think it also, like the work that you do on your branding, finding, your messaging and everything, it just makes the sales process that much easier. And it also like makes your marketing that you're doing, your advertising, that much more effective. You're going to be spending time, money on marketing and advertising. I think if your brand is, not in a great place, you just kind of, you're wasting that money almost because it's not resonating properly.
Yeah. One of the first things that really a company needs to do is identify who their target audience is, or some people call it an avatar. And so really understanding who the person is that needs your service, that you service the best, and what are their pains, right? What are their strengths, their weaknesses? Where do you fit in their ecosystem of helping them with what their needs are? And once you get a clear picture on who that audience is, that goes into your messaging, that goes into your marketing, that goes into your website. Because then when people visit your website or see the social media or whatever advertising you're doing, they're going to feel like you're speaking to them, which is why people take action and, hire somebody to do, a project or bring somebody in, because they know they've read what you've written and it speaks to them because that's exactly what they need.
Yeah, definitely. Just want to remind the viewers out there, if you have any questions or there's something like that we didn't cover, just drop it in the comments, and we'll also put some links below to reach out to Tori and, with her website and her company if you want to get in touch with her. You touched on a number of great points there from like a branding standpoint, like some practical like things that, business owners out there can do to improve their branding. What would be like kind of your top maybe 3 to 5 kind of things that they should make sure their business has or that they can start doing to improve their branding?
Yeah, well, first thing I would say is make sure that you have a logo, right? So if you don't already have a logo, make sure that that's the first thing that you do. You need to have a
Mhm.
presence online. So whether that's a single page landing page or a website with multiple subpages, services about, all of those different things, you need to have an online presence. Social media is huge. And for contractors, it may be a little bit different in the avenue of how you market your business on social media, depending on who the client is. If you're, business to consumer or you're business to business, there's different platforms that would work better. But then the
Mhm.
final thing that I would say is consistency. So no matter what it is that you do in your marketing and your branding, if you're not consistent in it, it's almost like you're shooting yourself in the foot because, kind of putting something here and putting something there, and then people don't know
Mhm.
if it's consistent that you're out there and that you're there to service them. And so if you are consistent with your marketing, whether it's on a blog or video or social media or advertising, people are going to find you, they're going to resonate with you, they're going to have that know, like, and trust factor, and that's really going to help to convert them to being clients and working with you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, consistency, just more awareness, right? I'm big on this as well, no matter like what part of business, but starting kind of like in one area or with something, kind of as simple as you can and really, stay consistent on that and then kind of expand from there and grow from there instead of trying to do too many multiple things or too many, different platforms and kind of being, spread out and not as effective. So
Yeah, absolutely.
perfect. So yeah, that's on the branding side. Now, I mean, your company specializes in marketing as well. What are some things that contractors should think about as far as like strategy for marketing? Like they'll put out maybe some emails and they've got some social media happening, but what's sort of like a strategy that you could help business owners put together and implement?
Yeah, there's a couple, and I'll touch on the front end, which is like lead gen, right? So
Hmm.
you've got to have some sort of a funnel, if you will, or a landing page that you can drive traffic to for people to learn more about you, inquire more, and then you bring them into your ecosystem as a lead. On the flip side of that, you also have the retention side of things, because a lot of people, talk about this in my world is that your database and your existing customers or your past clients, there's so much business that's still in that database that if you don't nurture those people and stay connected with them and do that kind of retention strategy, you're missing out on a lot of business. So
Hmm.
whether that be an email campaign, drip newsletter, social media campaigns, whatever it is, there's different avenues that you can go. And for me in my business, I like to be very strategic and specific to the companies that I work with, because there's no one size fits all, especially
Yep.
when there's different types of contractors, right? So
Hmm.
the strategy is, has its bases, but in honesty, it's going to be different for each person. So you got to work on that front facing lead gen, getting new clients in, whether that be a landing page and advertising, and then the retention side, keeping the clients that you do have or past clients, nurturing them and getting them in your ecosystem when they need you.
Hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, the goal is similar as far as, lead gen, but the strategy and the ways to do that obviously are more of a specialized approach as far as
Yeah.
what's going to be the most effective. There's a whole bunch of different variables, right? Different
Yeah,
types of
because what you
contractors.
do for one is not going to be the same for the other. And
Hmm.
so, that's what I like, really customize it, because, you can plug and play all these different marketing pieces, but you have to really put the right pegs in the right hole for the
Yeah.
specific client that you're working with.
Definitely. So you mentioned landing pages a few times. Most contractors by now, I would think, have a website. Could you maybe differentiate between a landing page and a website and where you would use a landing page instead of like a website
Sure.
or how that comes
Yeah.
into play?
Yeah, so typically a landing page is used for lead generation, right? It's has one specific call to action, and you're sending people to book a demo or to schedule a consultation. And so the landing page that you send them to is one page, and that's the message, right? You don't want to, clutter it up with all these other things that you can do. So that's
Hmm.
typically what a landing page is. Sometimes in the contracting space, I do hear people use that as kind of interchangeable with a website, because they have a one page website where everything's on one page. They're, about their services, everything's in there. And so there's two rules of thumb. I mean, I am more of the traditional route in saying that a landing page is more that call to action, the lead generation. And then the website is typically where you have sub pages of homepage, about, services, or anything
Yeah.
other specific tabs that you would add to layer on there.
Yeah, makes sense. Thanks for clarifying
Yeah.
that. And yeah, so landing pages often it's more specific, and generally there's kind of one action that you want the potential client to take as far as like
Yeah.
connecting with you or scheduling a consultation or what have you. So definitely makes a lot of sense. So I'm all about systems and processes and finding ways to do more with less. Can you share with us maybe a few systems that you use with clients or that you help clients as far as like marketing systems or ways
Yeah.
just of kind of getting more done? Could be processes or technology based.
Yeah, I have a couple favorite tools because I'm a little bit of a techie on my side. So I really love spreadsheets, right? So spreadsheets are so dynamic because you can use them in so many different ways. And so for that reason, I love the tool Airtable because Airtable has a spreadsheet-like feel to it where you can have multiple tables and multiple rows and multiple views, and you can put graphs and you can do project management and you can do automation in it. And so there's so many really cool things that you can do with an Airtable platform. So I use that personally for my project management, and then also for my clients as well. We set them up with Airtable to communicate back and forth, and we can have like a shared link. If there's like a shareholder that we need to share data and information with, we can have specific details highlighted in a shared link. So that's one really cool tool that I like to promote and let people
Yeah.
know about. Another one, so social media. So a lot of times businesses know that they need to be on social media, but they don't have time to do it. So I use a tool called Creative Social, and it's a social media management platform. And so you can schedule, create content, track, and get reporting for all of your social media stuff. And so that really gives you the chance to sit down, maybe 30 minutes a week, put your content together, schedule it out, and then it's done. Or if you have an agency like mine who does it for you, then there's a really cool platform that you can use. Gosh, what else is there? CRM systems. I mean, I've used so many different CRM systems, so I don't know that I can really pick a favorite, but a
There's a
CRM
lot, yeah.
system is so dynamic, especially for me in the marketing world, if the CRM incorporates email marketing. Because there's some CRM systems that are just like contact database type management, but when you layer in the marketing aspect of it, where you can send the email communications through the CRM platform and track the opens, see where they've clicked, you can create specific landing pages in CRM systems. And then there's automations and triggers that you can utilize too. So once they've interacted with an email or once they've gone to your website, you can send a follow-up or create a task. So there's so many cool things that you can do with a CRM system.
There really is a lot of different tools out there nowadays, and like your best bet is to talk to someone like Tori, and
Yeah.
someone
I've
who's
used
like
so many.
you've
Yeah.
seen so many different ones. And again, like getting back to the marketing strategy, one may be great for one business and one may be better for another business. So
Absolutely.
there's a tool for everybody, and it's just figuring out which one's going to work right for your specific business. A few things I wanted to touch on before you mentioned like email marketing, and for a lot of contractors, this is kind of like gold in the mine or something like that, where you've been in business for maybe a couple years to maybe 10 or 20 years, never really had an email marketing campaign, but you have all these past clients and all these contacts that you've gathered over the years, and really just getting that organized and into a system and starting to reach out and warm up that market can be a great resource that you already have. It's just not being utilized.
Very common that's very underutilized. I think
Yeah.
even not just in the contracting space, all businesses, they don't understand the value in the database that they have. Obviously, you don't want to spam people and like send them emails all the time, but if you use it in a specific way, it can really be valuable.
Yeah, even just it's a way to kind of re-engage and recontact those people, not necessarily putting them in some sort of like big marketing funnel, but even just like a reach out message to touch base, because if they haven't heard from you for a couple of years, they probably forgot about you, even though they may have a project or something that they could use your services for. Another thing that you had said earlier was kind of batching your content that you're doing on social media, and I think that's really powerful for a lot of business owners as well. Is like you get ideas throughout the day or the week or whatever, and just sort of like trying to make content in a more of a batch formula instead of like a little bit here, a little bit there, because getting back to the consistency, then you can sort of schedule it or at least have a plan for it, instead of kind of like having a burst of a bunch of content over a couple of days, and then you get busy and then 2 weeks go by and nothing happens. So
Yeah, and the best tool for that is your Google Calendar, I swear. So if you block off time on your calendar to batch content or to, do your sales calls or whatever it might be, that's the best tool, because a lot of times if it's not on your calendar, you're not going to do it. So you need to structure your time and be very intentional about how you use your time. So leverage that wonderful Google tool that we all have.
Yeah, big pro tip there. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, schedule time in your calendar, because to-do list is just, it gets, you've got 50 things on your to-do list, and
Yeah.
you don't really get to everything. Whereas if you actually block out some time, hopefully you can at least not have someone take that time away from you, and you can focus on whatever you need to get done. So gonna put you on the spot a little bit here. I know we didn't chat about this earlier at all, but do you have any like client story, as like a client journey, where you had someone come in, maybe that things were like unorganized or weren't working for them, and then some of the kind of steps that you helped them with to get their marketing, turning out some leads and stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I had a client who came to me when they were just having the thought of going out on their own. They've been working with it was an electrician, and they've been working with a company, and they're like, I really want to do this on my own. So I need to start my own business. And they focused on doing electrical work for new construction communities. And so I sat down, and they had kind of drafted up, a logo and like, I think this is what I want my company name to be, and how it should look. And so we sat down over a cup of coffee, and I listened to what his goals were, what he wanted to do, and took a look at what his logo was. And I was like, okay, I can see the full picture here. And so I told him, let's redesign a logo. Let's work on your brand. You need a website. And he's like, do I need a website? And I'm like, yes, you absolutely need a website. And so I helped him get all those things in place. We did some branding photos, which, for contractors, are like, I don't want to take photos, but really photography of you on the job site, your truck with your, your sticker, your logo, whatever on the side. Those are really cool pictures to have on a website. So we did that, and now he's up and running full speed, and he is working with, 5 different public builders, and he's got a team that he's built. And so he's just got so much success just from that one starting point. So I love being able to see people who have a vision and have an idea, and putting that vision in place, and helping them to get to a point where their business is booming and they've got clients, and they're really making a difference, and they're happy. So that's my success story.
That's wonderful. And like often starting out, myself included, when I started my subcontracting business, was like I'd come from a trades, on the job tools background. So I knew that side really well. But like things like marketing or sales or branding and like all of this kind of stuff, like more on the business side, it's not intuitive. And very smart guy, reaching out to you and getting professional help with it. And it seems like, he was able to cut out a lot of the trials and tribulations of trying to figure it out on his own, instead of, going to a professional and getting your help with, getting that part of his business up and running and humming, which is super critical when you're starting out, to have consistent leads and be able to grow a business like that. So
yeah, and especially in his position, he was a newer, right? He was starting his own company, so newer company, like 20 plus years of experience. So he had the experience, and he was going after public builders. So there's some level of professionalism that you want to have coming in as a new company, like not just a hand-drawn logo on a piece of paper, right? You want to make sure that you look like you're a legitimate contractor or a business owner. And so being able to put that together for him, I think was, far more than what he had expected, and really set the stage for his, first impressions with those builders that he started doing work with.
Yeah, very good point as well. When you're starting out, like you don't have, maybe that background or, past experience. So having, professional look is definitely going to go a long way. So thank you so much for coming on, Tori. I really appreciate it. What's the best way for people to connect with you or reach out to learn more about what you do, or connect further?
Yeah, so a couple places. So since we're on YouTube, this video is probably streaming on there. You can go over to my YouTube channel. It's Creative Marketing LLC. You'll see my face. You can subscribe to my channel and see all the content that I put out there. Social media wise, my favorite channel is LinkedIn. So you can find me on Tori Barker on LinkedIn. And then for your guests, I have a quiz that I'd love for anyone to take advantage of if they're interested. So it's the Visionary Marketing Quiz. And what it is it'll give you, it's about 15 questions, and it's questions about your business. And it'll tell you what your marketing strategy strengths and weaknesses are. So it'll give you an idea of different areas in your business that you need to work on. I can give you a little report that comes with it. It tells you like, here's some something that we should focus on, or here's some advice on what to do in this area since you're a little bit lacking in, strength versus the other one. So anyone who's interested in taking the quiz can go to visionarymarketingquiz.com.
Awesome. That's great. And we will have those links in the description below this video. So just click through and go directly to the links. Thanks again, Tori. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me.